Welcome to Clicks and Coffee. I'm Alexander, and here we dive deep into the journeys of entrepreneurs and marketing innovators. Each episode, we uncover the challenges, triumphs, and unique strategies of our amazing guests, giving you valuable insight and inspiration. Our goal is to build a community of growth oriented professionals ready to learn, collaborate, and thrive in the ever evolving world of digital marketing. So, whether you're here for the latest trends or looking for that next big idea, you've come to the right place. Let's get started. And today we've got Yana Tornoe, the COO and co-founder of QuestionBase, joining us. And I can tell you, if you use Slack, I can assure you that you will love today's episode. Yana, thanks for being here.
Thanks for having me, Alex. Happy to be on the show.
All right, so can you tell us a little bit about your career journey and how you got to where you are today?
Of course. My background from university is actually marketing and sales, but that's not exactly what I started doing. After I graduated, I was looking for a new graduate job. It was one of these crises on the market where young people were having really hard time finding a position. So me and a couple of other friends got together to experiment with building software. At that moment, the newest hype was building mobile apps in 2013, and we decided, you know what? We have this idea. It was about a dating app. Let's make it happen. And we combined our skills. So in a way, I was using market research in order to bring product ideas. I was scraping out reviews of competitors, products, like trying to figure out what was missing on the market, where is there an opportunity to build something different and more value adding. So I did apply some of the marketing skills, but it was in a product direction. And then we ended up launching that product on the market. We got like 50,000 users in the first few weeks. And then ended up being a 6 year journey of scaling that company to over 1 million users and being one of the top task managers. And I would say that throughout the journey of the company, I took a lot of hats on. I was doing business development, I was doing partnerships, I was doing growth marketing, SEO, blog post writing, everything you can imagine. So I have a wide variety of campaigns we have tried that has worked for us back in the days. And now in the new company, QuestionBase, that we started roughly like 2 years ago, I'm applying some of the tactics, but definitely the game has changed and leveled up with AI. So I'm trying to get what, like, the latest posts on what's working right now for marketers and growth hackers with these AI tools. So I'm happy to share what I've learned so far, and hopefully I can learn something from the community and the other episodes of the other guests.
Yeah. And so can you tell us a little bit about question base and exactly what it does and why did you start that company? Like, what I know that is your previous experience, but really what was the I would say the main idea behind question base?
We are three founders in the company, and always the idea person is our CEO, Casper. He's full of ideas. He sees the problem, he wants to improve things, he wants to make them better, and he's a really good system builder. So he sees the connection between different perspectives, and he manages to merge it into one architecture that can make a drastic difference in somebody's workflow. So he was the one that brought it to our attention, to me and my other co-founders' attention, that there is problem with how knowledge is being shared in companies. At that moment of time, the three of us were working in different stage companies. I was working in a 30 people SaaS company as a product manager. My other co-founder was working in one of the fast-growing unicorns. And my third co-founder, our CEO, he was working in a corporation with thousands of employees. But we merged the perspective, what is happening, of how is information finding, how as employees are we finding information, how is information being shared with us. and it was a disaster. Like people were being told that don't look up in the wiki. Wiki, that's the graveyard of information. You'll not find anything valuable there. People would also say, oh, just ask in Slack. But I was actually the one that was getting a lot of questions as the product manager in Slack. I was getting questions both from the product team on certain aspects, like, oh, what about this decision? Like, do we have it validated? What are the
So
next
you
steps?
you were the wiki of the company,
I
in a
was the
sort.
walking wiki. Yes, exactly. Like 30 questions a day easily. And the sales teams and the customer facing teams were getting blocked. If I'm not there, if I'm not there to respond, then it will have to be somebody from the development team, and you're taking the organization's most valuable resources to essentially recycle information and trying to connect people to something that was likely already said before, or it was documented previously. So as the
And
system builders we thought, you know what, it's so outdated to find information in wikis and to expect that people would go there. People expect answers, and that's why chat is a great place, because you're getting the most up-to-date information, and you're getting that verification layer by who said it. Their word carries value, and when did they say it? So this timestamp plus their own credibility is passing on and rubbing on the information, making it much more valid for you to take action on. So we decided that this is a great problem to solve, and it's really hard problem to solve. And so far, what we were seeing on the market was that most solutions were still doing it the old school way. But companies, there was a shift on the market. Modern companies were talking on Slack. Most employees were not documenting things and spending their time in docs. They were spending their time in chat and conversations. So it was a great timing hitting it with AI, where we could apply the AI at that scale and be able to extract know-how out of these conversations, and in a very natural way capture information that would otherwise be lost.
so it's basically, instead of trying to make people work in a certain ways, is how can we adapt to the way that people are working and still deliver the same results, basically. That's
Exactly.
the
Like
idea.
we question base has very minimal change in behavior for the employees, because as tool builders for 10 years, we know that once you introduce a new workflow to people, that's when there is inertia. People know how to do their own things. They have built their routines. And what we do is
And I
that we
agree
actually
with you.
absolutely. So in Slack, the AI is really smart. So if the habit of employees is to go to Slack and ask questions, you can build the most wonderful wiki with the richest amount of content, and people would still not go there. Their go-to place would be to ask a question in Slack. So what we do, our bot in question base will detect that, hey, in that channel somebody needs help. So it will analyze that that's a question. Then as a second level, it's going to analyze, oh, is that a question I know something about? And it's going to look up from previously answered things and try to fetch a verified answer for the employee and automatically resolve it, instead of having the manager in the organization. And potentially, like you can, in the remote companies, some of the employees are waiting for up to 5 hours for a response from their manager. If you're having the force, the customer supporting force, like let's say customer care and the sales agents to be in one time zone, but your technical team to be in another, the delay for product know-how is massive. So even though you're asking in chat and expecting an immediate answers, it's more like in the hope of somebody being awake still and answering your question. Whereas question base is really smart in these ways that it interferes, it surfaces previously answered questions and says, hey, this question was previously answered like that. Was that helpful? And on top of that, it's also going to search other tools. It's going to tell you, oh, I found this in the Notion for you, and I found this in your documentation. So in a way, it brings the answers right there when the employee needs them, in the context they need them, versus hoping that employees will change their workflow and go to each and every system of record and find the information themselves.
Yeah, and I was looking at your website, which is questionbase.com. And by the way, I love the name. I think it's such a catchy name, you know? It's like simple but really catchy at the same time. Uh,
Again, our CEO, he's naming
a-
all the companies we're starting, and he's really good at it.
and
Question
the
based and knowledge
logo
based
is
based out
yeah,
of questions and answers.
yeah, and the logo is really good too.
Oh, thank you. That's the other co-founder. He's the brand. I'm just here talking, but really these are the guys getting the work done.
And so I was looking at your website, and it says, which I find to be like totally mind-boggling, is like 5 hours are spent by a company expert responding to answers. So I don't know, if it's per week or per month, but it's still 5 hours of time. And it's not just like losing the time to do it, it's also the repetition of doing it, which can wear on your mental state as well. When you have people that, every day ask every day at least one time the same question, it's like, guys, like, you need to figure it out and stop asking me, so that is one thing that is pretty amazing, to have this type of system where people that answer the same question over and over again every week, that they want to have to do that basically.
Yeah, that's exactly what it is. And on top of that, a lot of the waste of time comes also from trying to stay on top of Slack, because as companies are growing and even as we are aging in our usage of chat, like some of our companies don't need to be big organizations, but they can be older organizations with multiple years of history. That is just like a high velocity of channels that piles up, and it means that the product managers and other experts on the team are trying to stay on top of this communication and trying to stay on top of many different channels. Be like, oh, where did Alex ask that question, and trying to remember that. What the question base in this does in this case is that it, for the experts on the team, it has a digest where it captures all the questions that were asked in the channels you're expert in, and then it sends you a daily digest, just like a task list, and says, "Hey Alex, today you were asked 5 questions that you still haven't responded to. You wanna give an answer?" And in that
Wow.
way, like, proactively make sure that nobody in the organization is waiting on an answer, and it's removing that fear of actually blocking somebody. Product managers don't want to be in that position. They don't want to block their colleagues. Nobody wants. And I am often talking to people and feeling really bad about them, because some people are spending their evenings 9 p.m. after they've put the kids to sleep. They open their computer and try to stay on top of Slack, which is a really bad for the mental health
Yeah,
organizational habit.
for sure. No, and I know, and I have in our companies, like, I do also have a lot of unread channels.
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah.
but I totally get it. All right, cool. And so that's pretty good. So right now you guys are only working with Slack, right?
Correct.
But you integrate, you said, yeah, I heard you integrating with Notion as well.
We are integrating with Notion, with Intercom, with Guru, with other systems of record where the information lives, and we are able to extract
And
answers from there.
okay, and then you link that basically in Slack, and that's kind of
Yes.
like somebody that takes everything and be like, hey, this is where the information is, here it is, and even tries to answer, because I'm saying it's not 100% accurate, but I'm sure that 90% accurate of the answers that they can find to the questions.
Here is the interesting thing and the trade-off with AI, that you can find a lot of information across people's documentation, but the validity of that information is very low, or the AI actually doesn't know what the score of validity is, because it doesn't have the critical thinking, doesn't have the context to determine whether that information is still valid or not. So what we prioritize in question base is proactively capturing the knowledge. So as people are responding something, we interfere in the chat and say, hey, Alex, you answered this. It seems like a very good answer. Do you want to save it? By you saving it, you then enrich that answer and it becomes saved piece of content. So next time a person has a question, we say, hey, Alex just answered this. Now that has higher credibility of information versus a unit that is fetched from Notion as AI generated answer across multiple notes or multiple documents, which likely the AI might get wrong. It will be good for awareness to know that there are these documents where you can read further, but then you have to go and ask somebody on your team, is that still up to date? So with question-based answers from question-based are human verified, expert verified answers, and we prioritize them on top of your search results. And we also let you, as a fallback, in case we didn't find anything in the database of question-based, we give you that information from the other systems of record.
Wow, that's pretty that's pretty crazy. Like, this idea is very, very, very cool. I'm so amazed every day to discover new companies that come up with such, innovative and really out of the box ideas. And as I was saying before, what I love is that instead of trying to change people's processes, you adapt to what they do and give them the information without having to figure out like a new way of working. It feels a lot more natural, the way that you guys are thinking about it, which is what we want. And at the end of the day, I'm sure that we will find some companies that will change totally something that we do, but right now I feel like that's what's important is using what we have today and adapting to how people are behaving today, and then enriching that method of communication naturally. So
I
it's
totally
pretty.
agree with you. With you're seeing that a person like you, so curious and on top of a lot of AI tools, you have a big understanding of what's happening, what the technology can do for you right now. But the average worker is having hard time to catch up to that and is benefiting. Like if you look at what our tools actually capable of right now, when you especially build these chains of workflows between AI agents in multiple systems, you can do most of your daily busy work, you can automate it. And you can also delegate it completely to the AI and be done with it. But most people are not at that level of understanding of the technology, of really changing their workflow, willing to change their workflow. So even though the technology there becomes this gap of awareness, education, and the capabilities that are people currently having, the inertia is really like the a prohibitive factor for people to benefit fully from the technology right now. And I think that it's inspiring. That's why like conversations like these are inspiring, because we all can learn from one another, because we all have figured out one component that works for us. And the only way for me to learn about it is to hear somebody else, how are they doing it, versus try to read like the 1,000 outlets right now that are having like 10,000 new tools per day with AI.
Yeah. No, 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 for sure. All right, cool. And so, we talked about that you guys just started couple years ago or last year, right?
Yeah.
And so, it's pretty early. And one of the big thing of every business is that you have to sell and you have to market yourself so you can grow the company. And so now you created an amazing product. People like it. I guess the early user love it. Now, how are you today getting new customer? How are you, marketing your company to new users? Because the point is, moving away from like friends and family, I would say, and really have unbiased set of customers to give you feedback on the product. So how do you guys are doing right now to market your business?
Great question. One of the things that we noticed through customer development conversation, we spend a lot of time talking to people and essentially pinging our network. Who can we talk to that has that problem? Do you know choosing a persona like a product manager? Do you know a product manager in a company with 50 to 200 employees that we can talk to just to hear them out about their workflow? So we spend a lot of our time in conversations where we were mapping out people's workflow without selling them anything, just trying to understand their reality. And one thing that we pretty quickly became aware of is that 2023 was the year of AI hype. Everybody was just jumping into it, and people were willing to try any tool. So as long as there was AI with it, like there would be an early adopter in each and every company who would be like, oh yeah, I'll give it a spin, I'll give you feedback. But then became like all the repercussions of these decisions came, which was, oh, breach of data or all kinds of problems that people run into, and suddenly the opposite thing happened, or the AI tools didn't deliver the value that was anticipated, and the opposite thing happened where it was like AI fear. So we became aware that we cannot be the one to educate the market on AI. We cannot work on the top funnel of awareness of AI workflows, of how to improve your communication with AI, because that's something that we simply don't have the budget for as a small startup. So we said, okay, if we leave that task to Guru, Notion, all the big players on the market, and they're the ones that push the agenda of AI and automation in the organizations, what is left for us? Well, what's left for us is the people who try these tools and their AI solutions and got disappointed, and it didn't work for them. So we actually very intentionally built our marketing and our communication around you have already tried documenting everything in Notion. You have already implemented solutions, but they hallucinated and their answers were inaccurate. Or you have already. So if you look at our landing page design, it's a lot about screening that persona that has already tried multiple other solutions and they didn't work for them, and now they are just like in despair for something that would actually solve the problem, and then we come into the picture with our solution. So
So you're
then
really
it's
going at the bottom of the funnel of of
exactly
of of the any type of AI solution, and then making sure that it's like the right company size and that people have already tested AI tools, meaning that they are still willing to do it. They are still looking for an improvement in efficiency in their company. They just don't know. They just haven't found something, and that's where you come and hit them with your product. So like
exactly
super targeted
super target.
ICP and super targeted, I would say like a message as well.
Exactly, and that message, the formulation here is you have already tried XYZ. And we do that in a lot of our marketing campaigns. We screen out that people, that persona, based on the criteria that they have tried it. Because what we've seen also is that if we end up in a conversation with a company that's not tried anything, or a person that is right now charged out of the blue to implement AI solutions, we're not gonna have a good first conversation with them, because
It's
their
too top of the
expectations,
funnel.
yeah, their expectations are too broad, and maybe like a big company that has the resources to nurture them, add to their team a big onboarding process and so on, is going to be able to help them, but we are not going to be the one that can delegate on such a small scale. Like we can delegate these kind of resources. So for us it's much more about, as I said, like working targeted.
And so and so how are you marketing to these people? Are you doing Google ads, LinkedIn ads,
We have
organic posts?
done mostly LinkedIn ads, and we have done as well a lot of a lot of content from the founders and building different magnets, lead magnets from the founder profile. So I will talk a lot about the problem, about the different use cases we're seeing, and then married to that, different conversation starters. So if somebody visits my profile, get in touch. If somebody likes the content, get in touch. If somebody comments, definitely get in touch. And all kind of these small motions that make sure that whatever content we produce is um, is giving back in terms of some kind of a conversation with people. And it's totally okay. Sometimes it's just like a hard no. Sometimes it's let's keep on talking. But that's something that is working for us, and we are in the process of actually improving it and doubling down on that.
And I'm sure that you're using AI tools to help you with content and outreach. So what are the tools that you guys are using?
I'm uh, I'm such a fan of ChatGPT because I feel like I am a AI, I am a tool nerd. I'm not an AI nerd. And as a tool nerd, I really need something to be as frictionless as possible, like down to my understanding. As a marketer, I don't have the big technical capabilities to really build my own workflows and so on. So I feel like right now, ChatGPT is so powerful when you say, or especially with the GPT agents, like when you say something, oh, go to this. Yesterday what I did is like I instructed GPT research, marketing research GPT on chat GPT to go into a competitor's Capterra reviews and extract all the negative points and give me quotes for each point, and then summarize and analyze what were the points of problems. And then I've created certain documents with the value proposition of question base, and then I said, now position question base against these disadvantages. And then I instructed it for now create me a landing page with that positioning. So I'm using it's nothing like it's not some glamorous AI tools, but I think it's just about the creativity of using the tools that are available to all of us right now.
Yeah, no, for sure. That's a pretty cool. So the main tool that you use is ChatGPT, but using all of the options and everything that's available to ChatGPT. That's really, I would say, like your secret trick on your market, on your, like, getting the marketing campaigns and getting the ideas. And do you have
Yes,
any tools to
exactly.
automate in LinkedIn as well?
We are using a number of combination of tools right now. We are in the process of setting them up with one consultant whom I really recommend. Look, Eric, he's really epic. Um, we are making a combination of um, Lemlist for the marketing campaigns, for the LinkedIn campaigns, where we could do all these lead magnets, as I said, on top of the content I'm producing on LinkedIn. And there, again, I combine it with ChatGPT, because I ask ChatGPT, do you know Lemlist? What do you know about it? Can you find me best use of it? Can you find me like what are people saying within, like, I follow the content of this and that expert. Can you sum up what are the best recommendations for setting up a workflow with Lemlist? So things like that, and then it gives me some ideas about the workflow I should set up. Like, oh, when I post uh, like a piece of content and a person likes it, get in touch with this type of message, things like that. Then I also go further step and say, well, write me the campaign. What should I write, and what's a good conversation starter? And we'll say, oh, but you need to relate something about their recent post. And yesterday I was exploring, and this is as recent as yesterday, I was exploring where it's really hard to automate uh, this authentic approach of, oh, I saw this information about you, and that that was very curious. Now I'm reaching out. So kind of this warming up the introduction. But that person had a really good sequence of how to do it. Like if they've posted something recently, go visit the post, make a thoughtful comment about it. So it was like you can use the agents and sequence them in a way where you can really replicate a human workflow, and then add it to the tool like Lemlist, and then it will do the work for you. So I'm not a big fan of things being fully automated, but like this grunt work of the initial contact, I don't mind it being automated. I think that then it's about showing up as the person you are, entering in authentic
Consistency. It's like
conversation.
it's the good thing to automate is what you need to do as part of the grind.
Yes,
The grind of the connecting and doing it every day, every week, every month.
exactly. And that part, as a founder right now, you don't have a choice. You have to do that.
You have
There's
to
so
automate
many
it.
tools out there, like thousands of thousands. The barrier to build a new tool is so low right now that you have no chance of breaking through the noise unless you're being smart about your usage of this technology.
And so how do you measure the results of those LinkedIn campaign? What are you do you already have some like marketing KPIs that you follow on, the time that you spend on LinkedIn and then the new customers, the CRM funnel?
We don't have it. I would say that we are very early on in our exploration of the different channels, and we have not spent time to really measure it per channel and really be able to say, okay, that's really what works for us. Let's double down on that. So now it's more in the intuitive phase. Like I can see that if I'm writing content on LinkedIn, if I'm part of a lot of conversations, if I am posting content on the page of question base, leads are coming our way. They are coming to the website. On the website, we are experimenting with a tool called R2B, RB2B, which is capturing, kind of giving intelligence for the visitors on the website. And again, giving you another reason to reach out to people proactively and say, hey, is there anything I can help you with? Did you find the website helpful, or is there something you want to ask me? So to answer
Right now
your
is to
question
figure
about
out
the
like the
analytics, no, like we are not there yet where I can share like concrete numbers about anything. It's just shooting, directions as a founder and trying to see where we're getting interest from.
so right now you guys are experimenting, I would say, a lot with marketing, even though the point is to really stay in that like narrow lane of your ICP and narrow lane of on level of the funnel. How like how do you come up with it? Like when you come up with a new strategy, how often do you go back and say, okay, let's double down, let's try to push that more, or let's drop that? Like how much experimentation are you guys doing in your marketing?
We're doing a lot of experimentation at the moment because we are at the phase where it's our top priority. Over the summer, we did a lot of iterations on the product and we got the results and the engagement results we expected. So now we know that the product works, people love it. It's about scaling it. And I think that there are a lot of different philosophies. The one that is right now being promoted a lot is you find a persona that has a problem, you find what their budget is to solve that problem, then you solve it and you start solving it in an MVP way. That's not us. What we do is like we do full-blown solution. We keep on grinding until people really love it. And then we have the conviction that it's marketable, and then we go and build that commercial part. So we do a little bit things for some people they can say the dumb way or the expensive way, but that's anyway what we ended up doing with this company so far. But now we have something that we know it's worth it. So it's creating like really like taking any idea. Taking any idea, if somebody from the team, we have a rule is do not stop natural flow. If let's say we've committed to some kind of objective to ship a feature, let's say. But then something comes from the sideline, of an idea. Like I got this idea that I'm gonna be running this campaign and celebrating number of product managers, and I'm gonna be doing these interviews over the next few weeks, and I just did it because once you're as a founder, like the your company is so dependent on the energy and that you have that you cannot afford to do things that you're not excited about because you can end up losing the momentum. So it's much better to, yes, it's not always consistent and you're losing a lot of value in not being as consistent, but what you're gaining is a lot of new energy to do things and execute creative ideas. And at this early stage, you got to execute on many ideas. So right now, whoever has an idea from the team, whether it's to do a webinar, an event, a promotional bundle, whatever it is, if you have the idea and you're willing to run with it, go, go, go. That's the philosophy.
It's all kind of experimentation. That's that's pretty cool. Um, and so we talked about it, but I'm gonna ask the question just to make sure. One of the thing that you said you're a tool junkie or a tool nerd. So if I ask you what is your favorite app or tool that you use daily, should I assume that is ChatGPT that is your favorite tool for the moment?
Yes, yes, it is. It is. Uh, that feeling of being able to execute on your ideas, not having a barrier, because I've been around people who had, like my other co-founder who is our brand designer, he's incredible visual designer. He can build, like he can come up with the idea in his head and then he can draw it, he can create it with designs. And I always envied him and I felt like in my head have so many ideas, but I cannot replicate. They have zero value to the external world because I cannot materialize them in any way. And I feel the ability with ChatGPT and tools like that, where you can converse with it in your normal human language and it can materialize your ideas, is just mind blowing. Mind blowing. I am so excited about the future of my kids.
Yeah, no, for sure. And then I even have a friend that showed me with now the new iPhone, you have this action button or something that you can have it open any app. And so, and I didn't do it yet, but I'm gonna change that. So he's using ChatGPT instead of Siri. So
Uh,
basically, he uses the button and then he can talk to to ChatGPT right away, which I thought that was pretty crazy when you think about it,
yeah.
the way now you can use it.
Yeah, you can converse with it as a buddy. It's really like something we've seen on the movies, uh, like Jarvis and Iron Man, right? Now it's a
Yeah,
reality and it's a tool available to each one of us. It's all
yeah.
about our creativity and inspiring each other, like having conversation like this one. Oh, what are you doing when you want to produce a blog post? What are you doing when you want to produce a webinar?
Yeah, no, that's pretty crazy. And so, I know that everything is exciting right now at Question Base, but is there something in particular that you're excited about and that you want to share uh with the viewers? And don't feel obligated to say if it's secret. There is no, I'm not putting I'm not forcing you to answer, but it's just like if you have
Yeah.
something you want to share that you're excited about, would love to hear it. Because
I think that my mindset is so different in this company than our previous company. In the previous company, I felt like I really lived for that future. I had it in my head. I had a clear vision of where we want to be as a company. It was I had the campus planned out and the uniforms that people would work work with. My co-founder wanted to design a coffee house inside the office, and we were so much living for that future dream of what the company can be that when it didn't materialize, to that level, it really hurt because it was right there. It was in my head all the time. And now I feel with that company, I don't feel the same way. I'm not living for the future or particular exciting moment because I think that every day is exciting. And it's not exciting because I'm getting somewhere to a certain level, but I'm excited about the learning journey. I think that every day I feel so out of out of my zone with all the AI tools, with setting up all these systems, that I'm constantly pushed to the limit to learn. Every day I learn. So I live for that. Like my daily hit is not material progress, is not a client side up or anything. It's, oh, I learned something new today. And that keeps me going.
That's very inspiring. Very exciting. I'm really really waiting to see where question base is going to be next year, and maybe everybody will have it by a couple of years from now. So one of the questions that I love to ask, and that could be another entire episode, just that question, but the idea is to kind of summarize it. What are you excited about in the world of digital marketing, and what are you worried about?
I'm worried about something that I saw yesterday. I saw that I I think it was Peter Thiel backed company. I don't even know if it was YC, but anyway, like a company that had a certain level of funding already, and it was uh, creating these fake promotional videos at scale. So you could be like, let's say you're a smoothie maker, and then you can tap into 100 creators and say, I want them to create an ad about my smoothie. And the AI is going to figure out about their audience, what the audience wants to hear, what's the angle they want to hear, and fakely produce the video about that smoothie. So fake authentic recommendation. And the AI is gonna then fetch out the results like, oh, this performed better, that pitch performed better, that audience like that angle better, and it's gonna autocorrect. So it will ultimately become this AI machine of fake content that is money
Hmm.
machine that's manipulating the viewer with that content to sell them things. And that reality is so unappealing to me and so scary because I think it starts touching about something that's sacred, which is the trust between humans. If we don't have that, if I cannot trust that you are Alex and you're on the other side and what you mean what you say, then the humanity is doomed, right? To me.
Maybe
So
I'm
that
not. Maybe I'm an AI. No, I'm kidding. No, no, you're right. It's a
yeah,
very
it
scary.
is.
So basically, they would be able to produce like thousands of different content in what, a couple of hours, because you still
Yes,
need to compute
yes,
it
yes,
based
yes,
on the interaction from all of the viewers of each content provider, and at the same time, it would redo the ad based
yeah,
on the feedback of the first ad and keep iterating until it's like a home
yeah.
run and people are obsessed with the content basically.
So I think that if I'm following you on Instagram, and I think that I trust your opinion, you've recommended really good tools to me, and suddenly you start talking about this new company like with a really strong conviction, I'm gonna think it's you, but it's not, and that I think it's unappealing reality that is happening. It's already in motion, and companies are actively working towards that future where I think it's putting certain segment of our society at a really high risk. The vulnerable people who are the young people who have less critical thinking, less understanding of, they haven't yet built understanding of these technologies and how they work. So they're gonna be consuming it as, for them, it's gonna feel like real content. And that I think is scary. But that's like doomsday of digital tools.
Oh, we
Digital.
already have with like the Russian bots also on X. I don't know
Yeah,
if you saw. I don't know. And again, I didn't verify the information. Don't know if it's like 100% accurate, but people would kind of figure out Russian bots and then enter a prompt that would get them unprogrammed, and then they would start like talking about a recipe. So they would post something political. That's the
yeah,
unfortunately right now the main use of those fake AI posts and fake AI accounts. But
yeah,
they would make them post like a recipe for art or something like that after, while as they were discovering that it's like a fake account.
yeah,
But yeah.
yeah, yeah. That is definite. Yeah, this is another category that is even worse than selling stuff to people. It's, yeah, depriving them from their freedom of choice and their opinion. Uh, we need to also end on a good note, so we need to also talk about possible things. I
But
think
that's the other question is what are you excited about?
what I'm
And,
excited about is, if we take the flip side, if we take the flip side of, I believe fundamentally that every human is creative. Creativity is for all of us. And there has been so many barriers to materialize that creativity, through education, through expensive software. If you look at what it took before for a person to be an architect, right? It's a high degree, it's multiple years of education, many years of education. Oh, then it was AutoCAD, like a software that was reserved like with thousands of dollars of licensing and reserved only for the ones with a high education. Oh, you know what? The barrier started going down when you started having some of the Adobe tools, and you could, as a hobbyist, you could kind of recreate some of these. Oh, but then came Figma, and in Figma you can draw some of these things. Oh, but then came Canva, and in Canva most of the things are templated and you can draw it. Oh, now there is AI. I can just say it with my human words without understanding the math, physics, and complexity around it. I can explain my vision. I want a carrot house on the beach that is, when you press the bell, it's a sprinkling candy and all these things, and it's gonna be able to create that, and I'm gonna continue prompting it, make it realistic, make this viable. What technology would it take to make a bell that sprinkles candy? Like, what is how to make it technically viable? Like, you can speak to it. You don't need to even understand how it's gonna do it. And it's gonna be able to create that vision, create the roadmap for that. And then when you add it to another tool down the line where you could, with 3D technologies and 3D printing and so on, where you could print some of these creations, like, wow, wow, the human creativity we can create, we can unravel because it's there. It's there. It's right now, it's just um, reserved and utilized only by certain layers of the society with certain layer of education and certain layer of luck in their life to be in the position they're in, to be able to materialize and benefit from their ideas. But what would humanity do if it can, everybody can benefit from their own ideas? That is now exciting to me.
so really, it's unleashing people's creativity and lowering I would say the bar to materializing creativity
Exactly. I think it has so much potential to solve a lot of problems and solve them locally where the
and really
solutions.
hope also everybody that has a business that they're trying to market to also come up with their idea without having to spend thousands of dollars also on people to try things, and they can really come up with the idea of what they want to do and then have it refined also by a graphic designer or something like that, and then really market that idea that product or like the advertising idea also that they have.
Yeah, if we need to tie it to the marketing, I think that we're gonna see hyper localized solutions. You're gonna see a lot of solutions being sold on trust. I think that actually more than ever, trust between people and recommendations, this kind of concept of social selling will be more important than ever because we don't trust the AI. The AI will be as like it doesn't have a preference, so it will always be nice no matter what. You can swear at it, you can get angry at it. It will always be nice. That's how it's built. But what you really need to build trust is that relationship that is built upon us navigating, going through some hard times, managing them, emerging stronger together, right? In that relationship building, I think that people would trust more like conversations like this, like what tools are working for you, instead of going out there and being bombarded with ads. Ads can create awareness, but I think where the sale is going to come from is through conversations of people you over a long period of time you're following their content and you're building a relationship with.
Super. Well, Yana, it was truly a pleasure to have you on this podcast. I'm so amazed what the three of you have done. Very, very exciting conversation. Lots of insights on a lot of things and very current things as well. So it was a true pleasure to have you, and I wish tremendous success to Question Base, uh, exponential success to Question Base.
Alex, thank you so much for having me and thank you so much for the nice wishes. It really matters a lot to early stage companies to get the opportunities like that, to be heard, and I really appreciate it.